Hello, everybody. So, my lovely audience, we are doing What If Deku was. Well, what if Deku had Dark Souls as a quirk? And now this is going to be fun because this is a really interesting quirk. Basically, it's going to be like solo leveling, where if he kind of has those kind of like dungeons or whatever, but it's going to be completely. It's going to be way worse than that, actually. So, Deku, when he was 5, he gets engulfed in flames. His whole building gets engulfed in flames. And the thing is, the flames only affected him, and it looked like it turned him into ash, which everybody thought he was dead, and it was kind of like heartbreaking because it was right in front of Inko, and they kind of heard the screams of him burning and all that, and it was really fucked up. And what ended up happening was they just thought it was like, oh, his quirk was too strong for him. So what ended up happening here was that Deku was pronounced dead. So what really happened was he got transported into Dark Souls, and this is what he looked like when he got there. Kinda. Basically, he had to choose a class, and seeing how he didn't really know anything about what the stats were or anything like that, he kind of just went with Deprived, because they were pretty good stats, and yeah, he was kind of just went with that. And what ended up happening was this. Deku, when he came into the world, he looked like this. And he had to fight a lot just so he could actually, get to be at like a certain level where he can fight solidly. But basically what ended up happening was he was in there for what the, the world that, if he was in like, his original world, in My Hero Academia, he would be, like, in Japan, he would be 13, but it would be like really a small amount of years, like, I'd say it's like 8 years, that's about it. But for him, it was actually much longer than that. It was actually around, 5 years is 50 years, so he was there for, like, around 80 years. And seeing how, like, souls are the only way of living, and he's kind of, like, stopped his growth around, like, 50, he kind of lived his life looking like this. He kind of got to the point where he leveled up so much, and seeing how this is kind of like the game, but not, because his level like just went so high up, it just went non-stop. There was no stopping point for his level, so it just kept going up, and he kept on upgrading his skills and all that, to the point where he's just too broken. His vitality's through the roof, his strength is through the roof, his dexterity, so everything is through the roof, alright? And yeah, Deku, he kind of just went up to the point where his souls are just so much that he's looking like this. And what ends up happening is this. Deku, he fights this guy. He basically has been fighting every last thing, killing them all permanently. And he fights this guy, the last thing he has to fight. And when he is fighting this thing, it cuts a hole in the fabric of space and time, and they both get transported into Japan, like right in the middle of it. And instantly they kind of just come in through from above, and everybody is like screaming, everybody's like wondering what the fuck is going on, and yeah, heroes are coming in, they're trying to fight this thing, and they also see Deku, so they try to fight him, thinking he's the cause, and nothing's working. Deku beats them, he gets through it all, punching them, and that's it. Not using his sword to kill anyone. And Deku, when at the last part where he basically is about to, when this thing's about to like just end the rest of the world, he cuts off its arms. And the blade goes into the ground, and he then goes into the this thing and then just stabs it right into its face, like that black spot. And he kills this thing. His sword ignites into flames, and it engulfs this thing, just eating away entirely at it and completely making it his bitch, really. Yeah, he pretty much engulfed it in a bunch of flames, holy flames or whatever shit. And he just gained a bunch of XP from this, really. Well, in a sense he leveled up, but basically he killed it and then pretty much stood above all of the stood on top of the handle of the blade, and everybody was looking at him. They could not stop looking at him, and they only felt a presence of pure fear, and that's all they could feel. Basically, this is what Deku looks like, and all they could feel was fear, non-stop fear. And Deku, everybody's like shaking, everybody just feels like they're about to piss themselves. Now Deku, he is 13, but he looks around like he's actually like 18, but he's actually 13. You can do a DNA test, it'll say he's 13, but he's actually like looks 18. But yeah, Deku, what happens is this. He goes over to he pretty much just gets away. He just runs off, disappears really, and while he's trying to lay low, realizing he's back home after all these years, he kind of puts all of his armor and stuff like that away into his inventory system because he still has it, and he checks his stats and everything, and he kind of just like invests points into what he thinks would be important for now, when really he's just too broken. Not even like Nomus could really put up a fight against him. So yeah, Deku, he's like just broken at this point, and he goes around, he kind of like looks for a place where he can get some clothes, and he finds one and pretty much raids it, and he's like wearing pretty much a hoodie, and yeah, he's wearing a hoodie and just like a mask, really, just like, not really be seen that well. Kind of like putting on this like fake act that he's actually sick or some shit. And he pretty much just moves around through the world like that. Now, yes, Deku did have money and all that he was in that world of Dark Souls and all that, and he had money. And yes, he had a lot of other things, but he's not going to use them here because it would be considered holy treasures or some shit. And what ends up happening here is this. Deku, he finds himself looking at the news, finding out people are wondering who the hell he was. Like, they're looking at videos of showing this figure standing on top of a gigantic handle of a sword that is still trying to be moved at this point in time by even, like, some of the helicopters and planes and stuff like that trying to make it budge. And the only person that's actually been able to make it move even an inch is All Might. And everybody's just like wondering what is going on. And heroes, villains, they're all like shooken up by this because they don't know what the hell just happened. Now I'm going to say that All For One approaches Deku somehow and kind of wants him to join him, thinking he's a villain. And Deku, what he does is he punches him in the gut, saying, "You're never going to amount to anything if you keep acting like a coward. You're nothing but trash to me. Nothing that I can't handle just with 2 fingers." Well, like, he just taunts him. I'm tired. I don't know what I just said there. So he basically just says, what did he say? "I can handle you with just 2 fingers. I don't need to punch you or anything. If you want to test me, then I'll go ahead and go all out on you. You won't be able to withstand a single attack or even a single thrust. You won't be able to survive it even if I even, like, faint it." And yeah, this is like something that even All For One's like, "I bet I could." And Deku just kind of like flicks him, and it launches him into a wall, breaking it. And from there, Deku kind of like starts limiting his strength, and he kind of wanders around looking for just like looking for a place he can stay and all that. And I would say that he finds one, and where it is it's located. It's literally the USJ, and it's in the USJ. And what ends up happening is Nezu finds him, and what happens is this: Nezu kind of figures out who Deku is, and through some secrecy, is able to quickly adopt Deku and kind of take him in. And after doing a background checks and all that stuff to find out who Deku is, he wants to put him back with his family, but Inko kind of killed herself after witnessing such a horror and monstrosity. So the only family he's really got is Miski, and that's about it. Now as for basically how Deku is right now, he's just too freaking broken. It's not funny. I'm gonna say that Nezu has him as a recommendation to have Deku specifically join for when he becomes 15, and Nezu would have like Deku study a lot, but Deku's just way too smart because his intelligence is so high up there. And yeah, so Nezu, he learns about what Deku's been through and is kind of amazed that such a person can survive such monstrosities. And yeah, it was something else. And I would say that even like some of the stuff that Nezu has, like can he heal All Might and all that, he's like, he doesn't know. He wouldn't know for certain. But yeah, so this is the foundation of it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm really tired, so I'm going to continue this when I'm not so tired. So yeah, have a good day and a good night. Peace out.